What's up, guys? Welcome back to All Gains Mindset. We talk about nutrition, fitness, diet, dating. We're going to go over a Reddit post here. So let's go into it and see what our comments on this particular situation is.
Okay, so I'm going to put it up right up here and we're all going to read it off together.
We're going to dissect this situation.
Yeah, so it says, my 25 male, girlfriend 26 female, hasn't been paying rent and I'm considering kicking her out. Pretty good idea. Okay, it says, my girlfriend and I have been in a relationship for 6 years, but this has been our first year living together. Originally, I worked part-time while being a full-time student, and she worked full-time at a job she had been at for years. Our agreement was to split rent, bills, and chores 50-50. Everything went fine until 6 months in. She told me she was very depressed and wanted to quit her job and take a mental health break for 1 to 2 months. I completely supported this decision, and she told me that she would save up 1 to 2 months of her half of rent. She quit her job immediately and mismanaged her money so she didn't have any left. I covered her half, thinking it would be only temporary. It has now been 6 months, and she is still not employed. She has not applied for any jobs. I have run through my savings, and I have had to switch to working full-time on top of being a full-time student in order to pay for rent, bills, my necessities, and helping her with her necessities. Jesus. Me being busier has taken a strain on our relationship because she feels that I don't spend enough time with her. I proposed the following suggestions, but she turned them down. Number 1, helping her find a job, even if it's only part-time to start. Number 2, helping her find a therapist so she can get back on her feet. Number 3, having her take over more responsibilities as far as cleaning and running errands so I would have a little bit more time. 4, finding someone else to move in. We have 2 rooms and pay rent while she works on herself. The end of the lease is coming up and I'm considering telling her that she can no longer live here. Taking on extra financial responsibilities has taken a burden on me. I also love her and I'm familiar with mental health struggles. I don't want to kick her when she's down. Is there any other possible arrangements that we can fairly work out until she gets back on her feet?
Okay, well, first thing that I guess to say is that there is 2 sides to a woman's mating strategy that we've talked about on this channel before. You have the short-term genetic benefits. That's like, he's really hot, I want him now. And it's like that craving, right, to have sex and everything. So you get the one side, and then you have the other side of the women's mating strategy, which is basically long-term investment, provisioning, parenting, comfort, security, shelter. That's like, so this post is basically diving into the longer-term aspect of a woman's mating strategy. So obviously, in the situation, things are not going very well. Lost her job, and he is talking about equality and how they originally wanted to do 50-50. A lot of the times, a woman does not really want 50-50. A woman like it when she can look up to a man, right? And that she knows that you're the man and you can take care of your own crap, but obviously this is a situation in which it's not really, she might be feeling not equipped because she lost her job. And now it's taking a stroll on him because he expected this whole equality, 50-50 life, and now life said no and turned things upside down, and now his mindset is being a little crippled right now.
Yeah, and it's so funny that a lot of women out there, no offense to a lot of women that watch our YouTube channel, but I know a lot of women, they're like, yes, I want equality, I want this, I want that, but then once they're given that responsibility of having the equality, like this specific right here, then you start shutting down and you start, going back to how it used to be. And I find it kind of funny, like, if you want the equality, if she wanted that equality, she wanted the 50-50, she agreed to it, she did want it, then she should have stuck with it. Granted, mental health or not, it's an agreement you have to stick by it. Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it, it's life.
Yeah, it's funny, they want equality, but it's like when you go on the first date, you're expected to pay. It's like if you're going on a first date and you say, oh, we're going to split the check, right? Equality, 50-50. Her vagina's going to turn into sand, and you're going to be very unhappy. And she's probably not going to want to see you again. So that's my example of how sometimes it doesn't work, and you just need to be the man because women are attracted to men, and when men do man things, they get very aroused by it. Of course, people don't like to talk about the short-term arousal cues of women because it's very frowned upon and no one wants to realize it. But that's a whole other topic. That's fine. We could just keep talking about long term benefits and security, and we won't talk about the I want you now, I want to rip your clothes off stuff, but whatever. This kind of stuff can really take a toll on your mental health, because when you go into a relationship, you have this expectation everything's going to be peachy and everything's going to be wonderful and there's not going to be anything going wrong and everything's going to be 50-50, everything's going to be great, it's happy life. But then you realize that you need to actually always be on your game, you need to be on top of yourself, you need to be taking control. She needs to be in your frame. She needs to be looking up to you as a man. But when you expect everything to be like 50-50 in the situation like he is, things can go and take a turn for the worse because you expect her to take care of her half, but sometimes life doesn't care about what you planned. It will just happen to you, and you have to be prepared for different obstacles to hit you.
Yeah, and let's talk about frame for a second, because this guy, he completely lost his frame in this specific scenario, where he laid the terms of the agreement of living together, and he let it go to where, for her to be able to save up like 2 months worth of money for her to quit her job to relax for those few months so she can get a new job and have a better job. But she ended up just abusing that power because that he let his frame down and lowered his frame where he should have been on top of it. And he really wasn't. And that's a problem.
When we talk about frame, we talk about like leadership pretty much.
Yeah. And
so
if he he was being a leader in the beginning, and then after a while he wasn't doing it. I mean, you can continue.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the frame, an exemplar frame is basically like when I got my vaccine, which I still regret to this day. Should never have gotten it. I remember I was just sitting there dying, not being able to breathe, almost trying to die, and some old guy next to me was like, "Oh, you just got your shot," and I was like, yeah, because I couldn't breathe. And he was like, well, my wife just made me get this. And I was like, oh, okay. So basically that was like, he is in his wife's frame because his wife made, this is just a side story just to implicate what I'm trying to get across. So that random guy that told me that while I was dying was in his wife's frame. And he told me that because of that. So that's what we mean by frame, like, the guy defaults to his girl instead of the woman looking up to him as a leader and a masculine presence. And it's hard for the situation because she doesn't really look up to him at this moment. Not that she could, because she's going through some crap right now. But this guy was not prepared for this because he thought everything was going to be, even Steven. But now it's not, and now he's kind of fallen off the bandwagon, and now he's struggling right now. What we say with guys in relationships is that you should always be in control. You should be the leader, And it doesn't mean tell the girl what to do like all the time. Like, oh, you do this and make her a slave. We're not saying that. No, stop it. Stop that.
Stop that. We know you do it. Yeah. We know you think it.
Yeah, stop trying to hate.
Stop
what
it.
We're saying is that guy needs to be a leader and needs to, demonstrate, not explicate. He needs to be that guy that can handle his stuff. And the woman wants, keyword desires, is not forced, not tricked, not manipulated. She desires to follow his lead. That is a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
That's what we promote.
And the thing is that if she doesn't do that, then you know what to do. Fuck that bitch. She's gone.
She gotta go. So this guy's going through some stuff, and it's not always easy. Sometimes things take a turn for the worse. But you do have to be prepared for stuff to happen, because sometimes it does. And that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, and you have to push through everything. He's going through this situation. For me, what I would say in this specific situation is you have two options here. Either number one, let you struggle until the lease ends, and you tell her that either she's got to get a job, or that you're not staying together for another, getting another lease or whatever, or you just kick her out right now.
Yeah, you have to know what you want.
Yeah, either you get her back on her feet. Like you have to be a leader, get her back on her feet somehow, to get her back to doing what she was doing and not doing what she's doing in this specific post. Get her back into the workforce and doing the 50-50 like you guys said you wanted to do. Either do that, or you have to kick her to the curb and be like, that's it.
Yeah, sometimes you have to understand that some relationships are not meant to last, and it's a natural part of life. You have to find someone who compliments you.
Yeah.
And sometimes if it's not going to work out, you have to be not afraid to put your foot down, because sometimes your instincts will tell you what to do, and you just won't listen to it. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. So if you have to, you do. It's all good. More efficiency, and it is what it is. but you don't want to hurt yourself over this too much. You just want to be able to try to solve the problem and not worry about the problem too much.
Exactly.
So, going through the situation, with that said, guys, if you want to leave a like, that'd be greatly appreciated. Leave a comment also what you think about the situation, maybe something for this guy, something that could help him. And also, if you want to have more conversations like this and different variety of topics, self-improvement, you can check out the All Gains Mindset Facebook group, link in the description, and we can have those cool ideas and you can talk to us personally. So, with that said, like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.